very good morning to you. You're watching Channel 9 Breakfast Show on Monday, the 23rd of March. I'm Michelle Eagleton.
And I'm Phil Trow, and Michelle is one excited lady this morning.
I tell you what, Phil, I am. Spandau Ballet are making a comeback.
Tony Hadley, big hair, daft shirts.
It's so true.
Cheesy songs.
Think it's going to be gold?
Were you a Spandau Ballet fan then, rather than a Durrani?
Oh, I didn't like Duran Duran. No, Spandau Ballet all the way. Although everybody seemed to fancy Gary Kemp, right? Or the one that was in, Martin Kemp.
OK, from EastEnders.
EastEnders guy. I didn't. I fancied Tony Hadley. And a couple of years ago, I got to meet him in, get this one, Ibiza.
Did you? Why?
Because there was an 80s club in Ibiza that was called Gold. And I didn't go for the dance music to Ibiza.
You do, don't you?
I went for the cheesy 80s club and he made an appearance. Honestly, it was absolutely fantastic.
Well, some people were Spandau Balleters, some people were Durranis. I was an Agadua. And according to the newspapers today, it's coming back. After 25 years in the musical wilderness, Black Lace have returned. Some would say that they should have stayed there. They have the bananas ready, as you can see. And the thing that Black Lace will always be remembered for is actually having the worst song ever, according to a poll recently by music fans. The others included the Birdie song, Mr Blobby, the Cheeky song, Who Let the Dogs Out, Barbie Girl, I Should Be So Lucky, Bob the Builder, Saturday Night and Mistletoe and Wine from Cliff. But it was Black Lace that was the worst ever, and it's coming back.
I had that on vinyl, and if you actually flipped round on the other side of the sleeve, there was a pineapple in different moves showing you the dance moves to Agadoo, which was
I'm watching.
Do, push pineapple, shake the tree. Agadoo, do, push pineapple, grind coffee to the left. Right, you can stop me now.
And on that bombshell, in a few minutes, the latest sports news, but first, here's today's news with Ben Bland.
A very good morning to you. A top school in Greater Manchester has been put into special measures after becoming the first grammar school in the country judged to be failing its pupils. Stretford Grammar School's leadership and management were severely criticised in a report by Ofsted. Last year, it was one of the best performing schools in Trafford, but inspectors said it was failing to provide an adequate education for its 755 students. More Greater Manchester news in a moment, but first, air accident investigators are trying to work out what caused a plane to crash, killing 14 people on board. The single-engine aircraft carrying children on a ski trip crashed in Montana in the United States last night. It nosedived just 500 feet from the runway, hitting the ground in a cemetery and bursting into flames. It's not clear yet whether a distress call was made by the pilot. The family of Jade Goody is finalising plans for her funeral as tributes flood in from the public. The Big Brother reality TV star died yesterday at her home in Essex after a very public battle with cancer. She's been praised for raising awareness of cervical cancer, with more women now coming forward for tests after she was diagnosed. The publicist Max Clifford has said that Jade had been planning the funeral service before her death and says it will be very much a Jade Goody production. Right, a government minister insists that he didn't break any rules by claiming a parliamentary allowance to pay the mortgage on the house where his parents live. The Employment Minister, Tony McNulty, has received an estimated £60,000 for the property in his London constituency since 2001 and says he won't be returning the money, but confirmed that he's since stopped claiming the second home allowance. In Greater Manchester, a teenager has been honoured after she saved her twin's life, and she puts it all down to her so-called sixth sense. Gemma Horton, who's 15, performed CPR on her sister Leanne after spotting her unconscious and drowning in the bath at their home in Atherton. Gemma, who said she suddenly got a feeling to check on her sister, has been commended by ambulance bosses. A man's fighting for his life after he was stabbed in Newton Heath over the weekend. The 19-year-old was knifed on Oldham Road after a row with another man. He's in a critical condition in hospital with stab wounds to his back and chest. And a 70-year-old man has been left with head injuries after an assault in Gorton. He was beaten up outside the Crown Pub on Gorton Lane in the early hours of Saturday morning. He suffered serious cuts, but the injuries are not thought to be life-threatening. That's Manchester Town Hall clock chiming at noon yesterday, but it's the last time you'll hear from it for a week. Repairs on the 130-year-old clock begin today. It's been stopped and will show the time as 12 o'clock until next Saturday. We'll have more on that story in our news at 5 this evening. Bolton Town Centre was transformed into a world of fairy tale, magic and myth on Saturday, featuring a goblin queen and her dragon. It was all part of a theatrical performance by the group Circo Rum Barber.
Hello, I am Goblin Queen. I come from land of Goblin. We come to human land to find me nice human husband, nice strong Bolton man, to come and sit on Kieran's egg and hatch dragon. Kieran will speak to you now. Kieran, speak. Kieran says, it is lovely to be here in Bolton, the home of all the humans. Now, we must go. I must find me husband to sit on Kieran's egg.
Now, what do you think of the area where you live? What's good about it and what do you feel really proud of? Well, there were answers to some of those questions at the launch of a Civic Pride event, and Kevin Duffy was there.
What makes you proud?
Everything about Manchester, and especially our school, Camberwell Park.
Where's that?
It's in Blakely.
I'm proud of a green in Manchester.
I'm proud that we've got a good community in Burnage. We all work together.
I'm proud about working in Manchester.
I'm proud of the students, obviously because we're a bit biased, but because we are making a huge difference. We're starting to build up a good community spirit and, well, we're trying to clean up our acts.
And that's before you've even started to list all of the famous names, places and achievements for which Manchester is so well known. But on this occasion, it was very much the ordinary folks who were the stars when a Proud of Manchester campaign was launched in the city centre.
I'm proud about everybody who's here today. It's a fantastic turnout. It's shown that people in Manchester are prepared to stand up and say, we've got something to celebrate, and today's the beginning of a year's celebration.
But of course, the city does have its darker corners. And it begs the question, is all of this just a bit too much of a slick PR stunt? Well, that's a question for the politicians.
Well, I think Manchester people are capable of running their own events and activities, so it's not a slick PR event. What it is about people within their neighbourhoods, within their communities saying, we've got something to celebrate, and we've probably got someone to celebrate as well.
Over the next 12 months, events are planned on the theme of caring for neighbours and giving the next generation a good start. Grants are available for community events too. Kevin Duffy for Channel M News.
Time for a look at the morning sport now with Phil and Mike. That's it from me for this morning, though. I'll be back with the news at noon. Do join me then if you can.
And we'll start with the day's sports news from the back pages. A very sad story that we've been talking about all morning this morning on Channel M in the world of rugby league, Mike.
Yeah, Leon Walker, 21 years of age, played for Wakefield Wildcats, was playing in a reserve game yesterday at Swansea, collapsed on the pitch, was airlifted to Swansea's Morrison Hospital and sadly pronounced dead upon arrival. Cause of death not yet known, but it's the second high-profile death to hit the sport over the past few months. He was a 21-year-old young man, with a tremendous future. He spent 3 years at Salford City Reds, gaining international honours with England and representative honours for Yorkshire in 2007. A big future ahead of him. The Wildcats game against the Catalan Dragons was called off yesterday as a mark of respect, and as soon as we know the cause of death, we'll bring that to you as soon as possible. But obviously our thoughts this morning with the Walker family.
Yeah, tragic news. Football, and Sean Davis of Portsmouth is being touted around this area.
He is. Bolton are after him, and he's believed to be interested in moving to Bolton as well. So are Everton. Portsmouth have moved to put those sort of dirty talks of transfers away from Fratton Park on hold. They're going to offer him a new contract by the end of this week, so hopefully Mr Davis will be staying at Portsmouth, where I think he's pretty good. He's in the engine room there, he's a midfielder, he's a very talented young man. I don't think a move north at this stage of his career would do him any good at all.
And I'm sure Mr Benitez and Mr Ferguson probably are looking at the remaining fixtures, working out who potentially could be the Premier League champions. Surprisingly, Mr Wenger is doing the same.
Yeah, he's come out over the weekend and said, despite being 10 points behind United, he still believes Arsenal can become Premier League champions. Then he sort of covered himself in a little bit and said, but having said that, I feel a little bit crazy. So I think he's crazy too. I think it's now a two-horse race. It will be won by a team wearing predominantly red shirts.
I would have thought so. Now, Robbie Savage, there's an interesting story about him this morning.
Yeah, he's been in the press last week about being allowed into the cockpit of a a plane while it was actually in flight, and the captain was reprimanded, and because people aren't allowed in there anymore. That was trying to cure his fear of flying. And in a mood to sort of light heart on that story, he's come out and said he did have a fear of flying, but one of his former Blackburn Rovers teammates actually had a worse fear of flying, and during a nervy landing absolutely wet himself. We don't know who that is. That's on the back pages this morning. We don't know who that is, but we're going to try and find out today. And just a quick look at the back page of the Manchester Evening News today. Following United's 2-0 reversal at Craven Cottage over the weekend, it's the first time they've suffered back-to-back league defeats for 4 years. A strong opinion piece by Stuart Matheson pleads, get it sorted. It's time for United's elite earners to turn their mega-bucks season around. And at the top, the Blues, they're slashing Euro ticket prices for the UEFA Cup quarter-final home leg visit of Hamburg. That's next month. So
it's almost like Fergie has told his players to go and stand in the corner with their hands on their heads, that, isn't it?
I think he'll be telling them to do a lot more than that over the next few days.
On to rugby union. It's not been a great weekend for Sale again.
No, it's been a bad beginning of the year, really, for Sale Sharks. Played Harlequins in their latest Guinness Premiership League match yesterday down at the Stoop. 12-all at half-time, but Harlequins ran away with it in the end, going down. Sale went down 38-20 in the end, as we say. Good afternoon for Charlie Hodgson, scored all the points, 5 penalties and a try, but missed the conversion. So Sale now down to 6, must win their 4 remaining league games to stand any chance of finishing top 4. I don't think they'll be able to do that.
Looks like the England cricket team are going to return from there with suntans and bottles of rum, but probably very little else.
Yeah, no pride whatsoever in England's performances at the moment. Overnight, they slipped to a defeat in the one-day international series in Guyana. West Indies won the toss, elected to bat, made the right decision, made 264 for 8. England, in reply, were 2-4-3 all out. So that's 1-1 now, and England only won the first test, as you'll remember, due to a miscalculation by the home side. So no glory once again.
Right, now good luck with the ice hockey from the weekend. This is complicated, isn't it?
It is complicated. Manchester Phoenix in action twice over the weekend. The league game on Saturday night. They got hammered in Edinburgh 6-3 against the Capitals. Now the confusing bit, yesterday they played Belfast Giants. They won at 4-3 because, as you know, Phil, you can't draw in a league game of ice hockey, so that went to overtime. Nathan Ward scored the winner in overtime to hand them a 4-3 league win. That was also the first leg of the Knockout Cup. Now, in the Knockout Cup, you can draw a game. So although it says 4-3 there, in a knockout, after 60 minutes, the result stands, so it was 3-3. The second leg is in Belfast on Thursday. It will be 3-3 there. Can Phoenix lift a trophy this season? We hope they can, but again, it's a bit like Sale. I think the games are coming too thick and fast at the moment.
OK, just a quick word for Curzon Ashton. They had a great weekend, didn't they?
They had a fantastic weekend. They played Ossett Albion, high-flying in the Unibond Premier First Division Northern here. A brief highlights of how that game ended up.
It's a battling performance. The pitch is a little bit difficult. It's dry and bouncy, and there's quite a wind going down the pitch, and it's just been a scruffy game, hasn't it? And we've battled hard enough. You know, we're patched up. We've got a lot of players out, and you know, they've battled and got a result.
Perfect time to score goals right at the end of the first half and right at the start of the second.
Yeah, it always helps. You know, it changes your half-team talk, and then the second goal gives you a breather and gives them a bit of a mountain, really.
Did you think it was over when you scored the second? Because they didn't really offer too much, did they, in the second half?
Yeah, I just felt, like you said, there wasn't an awful lot coming from them today, and I thought with a bit more care, composure, we probably could have scored a couple more, but we'll take the win because we've had a tough time of late, and we'll take the win.
Well done to them. Good weekend for Curzon.
Yeah, good weekend for somebody.
OK, thanks, Mike. Something that Mike and I will be taking on board after the break. If you want to become a model, then we've got some advice for you. We'll see you soon.